We can have a 10 minutes or so question answer session. Let's start. Om Sahna Bhavatu Sahno Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinamatu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Okay, so we started with the Nyaya Sutras. We did an introductory class, and then in the next class, we started with the Sutras. We explained the Sutras, what they mean. They are a very concise concept where they can, in a few short words, they tend to outline or put a boundary line for an idea, for a thought, or for a mathematical formulation, you can say. So it's not exactly like maths, but it is in a way better than maths, because here you have in maths there is an equality symbol. In sutras there is one sentence which will give you, which will include certain concepts within it, and then slowly those concepts are further elaborated, and that in that way the boundary of the sutra expands and the whole subject matter is captured within the language of the sutras. So these sutras, Nyaya Sutras by Gautam Muni. So as we have seen earlier, we have 6 darshan shastras, the 6 sciences. So any person who is enlightened by the Vedic knowledge, he is thus able to have access to these 6 sciences, and different rishis at different time wrote them down. And these sutras, we say, are not something that are the product of a mind of a person, but they are available in that eternal knowledge source, what we call Brahman. In that all this knowledge is available, and those who have brought them out are just the originators of that knowledge for us. And this is in a way a form of writing short note, the sutra form. So in this that knowledge is captured, then using these sutras different teachers would teach from them. So in earlier times, when this knowledge originated, the knowledge was much more evolved, but over time a part of it was lost. So other commentators came in and they started writing what we call commentaries or bhashya on these sutras, and there lot of extra knowledge came in. And also in a way, what happened was that they started to become a competition, sort of, as if the 6 darshan shastras are enumerating different forms of the same thought, but actually it is different angles of the same thought that is being explored by the darshan shastras. So we have the 6 darshan shastras. The Nyaya, it uses logic. Then we have Vaisheshik, which is basically science of matter, materials at the micro level. Then we have Sankhya, which is materials at the macro level. Then we have Yoga, which is related to the thoughts or the mind, how to control the mind. And then we have Vedanta, which takes up the matter of the higher knowledge, or you can say the knowledge of the transcendent plane of Atma, of the soul, right? So the soul, the knowledge of the soul, even though it's the main topic of Vedanta, in other shastras also that knowledge is brought in a short way, because consciousness is something that is the core of everything, of every knowledge. Without consciousness there cannot be any knowledge. So that knowledge has to be understood in this sense. And that then finally we have the Mimamsa Sutras, the Karma Mimamsa. So in Karma Mimamsa, basically what we have is the knowledge of action and whatever effect it produces. So out of these, we are currently doing the Nyaya Sutras. In this Nyaya Sutra, we saw the first sutra where it was shown that the knowledge of this logic is in a way liberating. That knowledge of Nyaya Sutras is something that can, let us know about all the categories that there exist in the world. And then, if we remember the first shloka, I'll just bring it up on the screen. Those who have that book, Nyaya Sutras, they can refer it. Online, you will find many versions there. So, if we look at the first sutra, Praman, Pramey, Sanshay, Prayojan, Drishtant, Siddhant, Avyav, तर्क, निर्णय, वाद, जल्प, वितंडा, हेत्वाभास, छल, जाति, निग्रह स्थानानाम, तत्व ज्ञानात्, निश्रेयसः, अधिगमः. So in this, what is said, 16 categories. I explained all these in short in the previous class. So the rest I'm not going into details right here, because that is the whole topic of the rest of the subject, right? So all of these will come up in much more details. So as I said, if you can take a book and write down these 16, then on one page, then on every succeeding page you write down one of these, and then we will study the branches of each of the 16. So then it will be easy for you to make the connection from a all these 16 categories. They are they help us to understand the nature of any object. And once we understand that nature of any object, then we are able to know that what kind of knowledge we are dealing about. So pramana, the means of right knowledge, prameya, the object of right knowledge, then Sanshaya is doubt, Prayojan is purpose, Drishtanta is familiar per instance, then Siddhanta is then established tenet, Avyav is the members or parts of an argument, Tarka is confutation or discussing about the anti the opposite side of an argument, right? Then ascertainment or nirnaya is an ascertainment where we make the final conclusion. Then vada, where we are discussing both sides, where one side takes the opposite stand and it tries to establish it, even though that might not. Then wrangling or jalpa, where any argument is expressed in such a way that one person expresses the argument, other person tries to disprove it. He doesn't have a counter argument, he just wants to prove the other person wrong. And then vitanda is basically what we call quarrel. So there we have something where both sides get into argument. So argumentation. Then Hetvabhasa is a fallacy, something that what we call logical fallacies. So this is a huge subject in itself also, logical fallacies. And that hetva bhasa is hetu is a cause and abhasa it appears like a cause. So it might appear like a logical thing, but it is not actually that. Then challa is making a fool of someone, kubal, or fooling someone with the wrong argument or twisting their words to give a different meaning to those words. That way. Then jati, a category or certain categorization of any object, so that we can put it in a particular band, right? And then nigrah sthana, where here it is written occasion for rebuke, but actually it's more like where we base our argument upon, where we finally fix the location of that argument. It's something closer to nirnay, but in nirnay you make a decision between the two parts of an argument, but in nigrah sthana you decide which one is correct, and then you make the final statement that this is what we proposed, and this is what is to be accepted. Okay, so and then we came into the second sutra, dukha janma pravritti dosh mithya jnanat नाम उत्तर उत्तर उपाय तदंतर अपवाद apayad apavarga. So this one says release follows from successive annihilation of these in the reverse order, that is pain, birth, activity, false and misapprehension. So first we have to remove the mithya gyan. When mithya gyan is when we study all of these categories, we realize all these objects have a temporary life, a transient life. So these all will disappear with time. So that is its dosha, that is its fault uh, of all the worldly objects. And then we because of that we give up pravritti. Whenever we find out that nothing in this world is permanent, we give up running after those objects, so pravritti goes away. And then janma goes, one pravritti goes away, pravritti or the tendency to do something for attaining something. Karma phala, we do karma, we get karma phala. But if we stop doing karma, or we understand that whatever we are doing is not something that I am doing, but just the instruments of my body that are doing, the consciousness can do nothing on its own. Once that understanding comes, then pravritti goes away. And once that goes away, janma also goes away, because birth comes from the accumulated karmas that we have, our desire to bear the fruits of those karmas. And then finally dukkha, finally that pain or whatever comes from coming into multiple births, that pain also goes away. Because once janma marana is over, once birth and death are finished, then this tendency of getting trapped in the cycle of birth and death, or bearing the pains that come with coming into the world, that tendency also goes away. I think we have a question here. Is this meeting going to be recorded? We are recording this on uh, the clubhouse, but I think I'll record it here also, because then we can continue. I think we missed a beginning part, but I'll record it.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Thanks, George. So then now we look at the we had covered the two sutras. So the third one we'll just have a quick look. What is the third sutra? Pratyaksh, Anuman, Upaman, Shabdaha, Pramanani. So there are four means of right knowledge, Pramanas. There are four types of Pramanas which are enumerated in the Nyaya Sutras. Some places you will find six, some places you will find two, some places you will find three. But that does not mean that the others are not, if they are not included here, then this science is incomplete, right? So all of the remaining pramanas are also interlinked. We will see that later on. But basically what we have to understand is pratyaksha is direct perception. So when we perceive directly something, then we attain a certain knowledge about that object. Then anuman is when we make a guess. When we say we are seeing just smoke on the top of a hill, which is the common example used in this Nyaya Sutras. So when we see smoke, then we can inference that there is fire. Then upman. So upman also you can collapse into anuman. Upman is what? If I see, like you see, someone has been pricked by a thorn, and you wince yourself even though someone else has been pricked. So what happens there is that because that other person is getting this pain, so you are able to experience that pain. Because why? Because you have experienced it yourself also, you have had the same pain yourself also. So that is basically upman. By comparison you can infer something, right? So in this way, upman, you can understand a lot of things. By you can know a lot of things which are not known by direct observation. So these are the four means of knowledge. So if we just elaborate, then the fourth one is shabdah. So shabdah pramana is what? Shabda pramana is how we know something about when we have not exactly heard about it directly, but from a reliable person, right? So basically shabda pramana is used in the form of shastras, the Vedas. So Vedas are considered Shabda Praman because they talk about such topics which are not available for our sense perception, right? So a lot of things that are written in the Vedas, like karma phala, like heaven, hell, and so on, and the other subtle worlds that are talked about there, which are not available to the direct perception, but whatever is written there, if we make a logical understanding, we can understand that what the Veda is talking about is actually possible, right? So through logic we can understand that yes it, but we cannot experience directly. So that is Shabda Pramana. But there is another form of Shabda Pramana which we can call a worldly Shabda Pramana. That is for someone reliable. When someone reliable tells us that something had happened, then on the basis of trust on his word, we can know that something that he's saying really happened. So just like in that fire and smoke example, we can say we can use all the four pramanas there. We can use all four. How? So like someone reliable to us, known to us, comes and says, so look, listen, there is some fire on the nearby mountain. So based on his words, I accept that yes, there might be fire on that mountain, but I can verify, I can go closer. So when I go closer, I can feel some kind of heat coming from that side. So from that heat I can infer that yes, there's some uh, fire is there or nearby, right? And that is called Upman. Then when I go closer, I can see the smoke also. So there I have some perception that this thing, the fire is there. From that smoke, I can from that I can know this, that is Anuman. And then when I finally go closer and I walk up the hill close enough to see the fire, that is direct perception, pratyaksha, right? So in this way, these four pramanas or these four methods of knowledge, we can say, they help us know about the nature of any object, right? So right now, how knowledge occurs then, this is we have seen earlier in Tattva Bodh and Atma Bodh also, what we call Vritti Vyapti and Phal Vyapti, right? So whenever we want to know about an object, we shall look at this in the next sutra also. So I'm just giving you the background as there in the fourth. So how do we know about a particular object? So when I am observing a certain object, then what needs to be there? What is the requirement that should be there? Firstly, I should be conscious. So consciousness should be there. Secondly, my mind should have a thought about that object. So that thought should go and reach the object and envelop the object. But the thought by itself, it is not sentient, right? So it will carry with it the reflected consciousness from my mind. My mind will reflect the original consciousness, and um, on riding on that consciousness, my thought will go out to that object. Then my consciousness will envelop that object totally. It will give it a bath of, and then my thought will take the shape of that consciousness, shape of that object, sorry. So my consciousness will envelop that object, my thought will take the form of the object. So if I'm watching a table, my thought will take the form of a table, and that thought, which includes all the aspects of the shape of the table, and not just what I'm seeing, but what I'm smelling, what I'm hearing, what I'm tasting, all of these can be included in that. So when that thought comes in back into my mind, riding back again on my consciousness, then in my mind there comes the final knowledge that this is a table. That final knowledge is called Phal Vyapti, and the first part where the thought is taking the shape of the object, that is called Vritti Vyapti. So that is how we know something. That is the normal method of knowing, right? So if we can look at all of these pramanas, the first one we are saying is Pratyaksham. So if we go a bit more into this, Pratyaksh, what is a pramana basically? So pramana, we say in terms of its definition in Sanskrit, if you remember from our class also, sadhak tamamam pramanam. So sadhak tamam, what is the best instrument that can be used obtain knowledge about a particular object? What is the best? So sadhak tamamam pramanam. So that sadhak tamamam is what? So like I explained earlier also, if I need to write, then I need a pen, I need my hand, I need my eyes to see how I'm moving my hand, I need my consciousness to tell my hand to move. To provide energy, or to provide consciousness for my hand to move. So there, what is the sadhak tamamam, or the best instrument? There the instrument is the hand, is the pen, sorry. So I need a pen first. So without the pen, this whole process cannot be done. The final instrument, the one that is doing the final job, is the sadak tamam, or it is the pramanam, or it is the instrument. So similar in the case of the eyes also. So eyes are pramanam for seeing, for the process of uh, doing the process of seeing, right? So the for that the eye should be there, the mind should be there, consciousness should be there, but the eye is the actual pramana. So the instrument of seeing is eyes, it is not the mind. Mind can retain, or it can get information from all the five sense organs. We saw the logic also behind that all the sense organs, they have one, they are born out of one element each. So like the organ of vision, the eyes, the seeing power, rather, instead of the eyes we can say the seeing power is the gyanendriya, that is related to sight, chakshu. So that comes from the fire element, so the third element. So with that element, we can know something. So basically, another thing that this instrument is doing, the instrument of knowledge is doing what we call the pramanam. It is producing some kind of knowledge within us, huh? So that is why we also have another name for them. We call them the gyanendriya. So gyanendriyas help us to attain knowledge about a particular object. So we have the five gyanendriyas. So chakshu, shrotra, rasna, घ्राण, and tvacha. So out of these, chakshu, the power of seeing, shrotra, the power of hearing, uh, घ्राण, the smelling power, tvacha, the touching power, the sense of touch, and rasna is the tongue, that sense of taste. So these are the five organs of knowledge which give us five kinds of knowledge about any object, right? And we can combine that knowledge to have a more composite picture of any object that we are experiencing. So pratyaksh anuman is one where we have to where obtain knowledge about any object. So what is the definition given here? We'll just have a look at that. We are looking at, we have seen these are the four pramanas in the third sutra, right? So we move on to the fourth sutra. So this is indriya artha sannikarshah utpannam jnanam avyapdesham avyabhichari vyavasaya atmikam pratyaksham. I've split up the words. So indriya artha, so indriya and its artha. Artha means its object of knowledge, right? So if you have an indriya and there is an object in front of me, say a glass of water, then this glass is the object of my knowledge, huh? So it is indriya artha. Artha is artha, basically if you look in simple Hindi or simple Sanskrit, it means meaning, huh? So what is meaning? What does meaning signify? Something that gives meaning to that sense organ. So what gives meaning to the sense organ? This, the object of that sense organ. Without this object, this sense organ is useless. If I remove all the objects of the world, then will there be anything left for my eyes to perceive? No, right? So it is because of these sense objects, the eyes have something to do. Otherwise they'll be jobless, they won't have anything to do, right? So for that eyes to retain their job of seeing, we have to give it some object. So that is its artha. That is why artha is also wealth, huh? Earth is also in terms of worldly objects, artha is also wealth, right? So the wealth of the eyes is this, the objects of the world, every object. So indriya artha sannikarsha utpanna. Sannikarsha is in very close contact. So when the indriya, the sense organ, and its sense object, they come in very close contact, the utpannam jnanam, from that some knowledge is born. So the knowledge born out of the close contact of the indriyas or the sense organs and their sense objects, that jnanam is basically pratyaksham. So there two more terms are being added here. They indicate the more, they give us some more detail about the knowledge. So what is that? Avyapadeshyam and Avyabhishari. So if you are looking at the two words, so when we are looking at Avyabdesham, so Vyapadeshya, Upadeshya, or V plus Upadeshya is Vishesh Upadesh. So Upadesh is something you can say in words, right? So in this Pratyaksha knowledge, it has to be Avyapadesha. It does not need to be said. I don't have to say this is a glass for you to know this is a glass. Just the seeing is in itself enough. So that is why it is Avyapadesha. It does not need any words or any kind of description for you to have that knowledge, right? Just the direct contact of the sense organs will give you that knowledge. So as you can see, the word given here is unnameable, right? So I don't need a name or I don't need a description to have a knowledge about that object. And then the next one is avyabhichari. So if you can see, the word given here in the English translation is non-erratic. So I'll explain that. So Vyabhichari is someone, a characterless person, someone who's moving from one place to the other, whose thoughts are never fixed, moving from one thought to the other. He never has a fixed aim. So the opposite of that is Avyabhichari, the person with fixed aim, fixed knowledge, right? So this knowledge of pratyaksh knowledge, or this pratyaksh praman, also is a knowledge that is a certain knowledge. It is a sure knowledge. It cannot be reversed by someone else. So just like in the case of Anuman, so there is a general example given, as I said, about smoke and fire, right? But sometimes there might be something close to smoke, like smog, dust, fog, and so on, which might appear to us like smoke, right? So I should be perceptive enough to understand the difference between fog, mist, smoke, smog, and so on, right? So once I know that difference, then only can I certainly conclude that what I see is smoke, and there will be fire. So for that kind of knowledge, there is some kind of what we call vyabhichar. There is some kind of doubt. There is some kind of variation or dissipation of knowledge. That knowledge might have different what we call angles. There might be someone who will perceive something differently. I might perceive that same object that I'm perceiving as representing something else. So that knowledge might be with variation, but with pratyaksha knowledge, it is avyabhichari. It is non-variable. It is a fixed kind of knowledge, where this knowledge helps us to know the actual character of an object in a very clear form. So avyabhichari and vyavasaya atmakam pratyaksham. So this knowledge is something that uh, we can transact with directly. Yeah? So vyavasaya is basically business or transaction or interaction. So this is some knowledge that this is one knowledge that we can have a direct interaction with, right? So there are some knowledges which we don't have a direct interaction with. So basically it is a knowledge of direct interaction, right? So whenever we are attaining any kind of knowledge, we have to remember again that out of these four forms of knowledge, this pratyaksha is always given the maximum importance. It is the one that has maximum credibility, you can say, right? So that pratyaksha knowledge is in this way understood, right? And so this one I'll not go into much detail, because its comparison with the others we'll see later on. So basically what we have understood is, through the contact of the sense organs with their sense or objects, there comes out, or there is born, a knowledge which is does not need any kind of name or word for it to be known, and it is also a non-variable knowledge, and it is of the nature of a transaction between the sense organs and the sense objects. So this knowledge helps us to become very conversant with the the object that is being known, the object becomes the object's knowledge becomes very certain in our mind. So that is pratyaksham. And then we go into the next sutra, where we are looking at the anuman praman. So if you're looking at the anuman praman, what does it say? Atha tat purvakam trivid anumanam purvat sheshavat samanyato drishtam cha. Right? So in this pratyaksha pramanam we have direct knowledge, but in this anuman pramanam we have three different kinds of knowledge. Huh? So this trividam, so this knowledge of anuman praman, it gives us three kinds of knowledge. One is purvavat, then sheshavat, and samanyato drishtam cha. Right? So anuman is basically where we are doing a guesswork, or we are doing a inferring something of an effect from a cause, right? Or it can be in different ways. So what are the three different ways? I'll just take the last one, samanyato drishtam. So samanyato drishtam is something that is commonly known, right? So a new person has not seen a cow. Hmm. uh, but he has seen a similar animal, like he has a dog at home, right? So someone tells him that, what is a cow like? It is like a dog only, but it is much bigger, it is whiter in color, it has its ears are bit pointed upwards, and whatever the description of that cow is given to that person. So it has hooves, and it gives milk, it has those four milk giving organs, breasts, and in this way that description is given. So when that person goes out to a field or a jungle, wherever, and he sees that cow, so based on that description he is able to understand or know that object as a cow, right? He is seeing some animal, he does not know what it is, but because that description has been given to him, then he is able to know that animal. So that is called samanyato drishtam, commonly known. Through common knowledge, or through knowledge given by some other person, we can understand or know an object that is being known. Like we know that we are seeing that object right now, but it is through anumanam we are able to know the exact name that has been decided by common knowledge. So that is samanyato drishtam. And then purvavat and sheshvat. So purvavat is from purvaha, that is from cause we can know the effect, and sheshvat is the reverse, from effect we can know cause. So purvavat, like if we can say that we are looking at a tree, and judging by the leaves and the smell of the leaves and the shape of the tree and all, I can say this is a mango tree. So from that I can say that since this is a mango tree, it will bear the mango fruit in due time. It might be a small tree, maybe in a few years it will start giving fruit, or it is big enough tree, but right now it's not the fruit season for fruits. So maybe in another few months it will give that fruit, right? So that from that cause I can infer the effect, right? So that is a purvavat anuman pramana. And then again in the reverse way, if I look at a boy or a young boy who's like unmarried, definitely not of much bigger age, so looking at that boy I can definitely conclude that this boy is someone who is young, so he must have a father. So looking at the effect I can infer the cause, that there must be someone, must be his father, there must be his father there, or I can say the same about the mother also, father or mother, right? So that is in the reverse order. So using anuman praman I can infer cause from effect, I can infer effect from cause, or using a common description I can know about something that I'm observing, right? So these are the three divisions of this Anuman Pramana, right? So as we have seen earlier, also I told you that this Pratyaksha Pramana is one that is most trustworthy or considered the most direct one. But through Anuman Praman, uh, what is the difference basically? The difference is that Even though Anuman Praman is, say, you can say, a bit less trustworthy, but it increases our range of knowledge. Its area of coverage is more. Through Anuman Praman we can know about a lot more things that we have not observed, that we have not seen, right? So that is Anuman Praman. So looking at something that is very far away from me, but by Anuman Praman I can know about the nature of that thing. Yes. So using Anuman Praman, my range of knowledge becomes more. Hmm? It will include to all areas where I have traveled, right? But if I'm looking at the next one, Upman, so Upman also there, something that that is more, that is also again more pervasive, because there's it pertains to feelings. As someone is feeling pain, I cannot perceive that pain, but knowing that a thorn has pricked him, I can feel that pain. So it is beyond the realm of matter also. It goes into the realm of feelings. So I can perceive someone feeling. So Upman Praman has a more wider range. Huh. And then the final one is the Shabda Pramanam. Shabda Pramanam has even wider range. Through it I can know about, like, I have read the books about Hwensal. So he has described his travels over so many different countries. He has described cultures of a much earlier or past age, through which I have no direct contact. Right. So with that, using the travels or reading about books on travel, nature, and so on, or a lot of scientific journals, I can have knowledge which is not my direct experience, or which I'm not able to know through inference, or which I'm not able to know through feeling also. So a lot of knowledge is there available in the world. That is all that knowledge comes under Shabda Pramana, right? And then further also, as we say, that the true Shabda Pramanam is the Vedic language, right? So the Vedic language being the Vedic knowledge being one that is beyond our sense organs, beyond the perception of sense organs. So it goes even beyond the perceptible world that is available to me. It goes even beyond this. So I think the time is getting over for this meeting, because we have a 45 minutes. So the Zoom meeting, I'm just disconnecting for now, and I'll reconnect immediately afterwards. So I request you please to join back so that we can continue. Just give me a half a minute. So right now I'm just disconnecting. Okay.
Recording stop.
Okay. So okay. So welcome back, George. Just wait for Yashoda to join back, and I'll also take up a question that I've got from this clubhouse. So Ari has asked,
Recording in progress.
okay, so welcome back. So we'll resume. So as we are looking at these pramanas, I have a question here from Clubhouse. How can we count in the experimentally verifiable evidences here? So the experimentally verified evidences will again come under Shabda Pramana. It consists of the word of someone or the experiments of someone, through which we can attain some kind of knowledge which is not directly available to me. I have not done that experiment, but I have read about that experiment, right? So through my readings or through hearing or talking to that person, I am able to add to my knowledge. So the experimentally verifiable evidences will come under Shabda Pramanam. Similarly, the Shabda Pramanam is the Pramanam, the means of knowledge that the rishis use. So rishis have knowledge of the Veda. So how do they attain that knowledge? Through that meditative power of theirs, where they can connect to that higher reality, and they are able to gain knowledge which is not available to common people. But what is the basis of trust of that knowledge? that so in our tradition so many rishis have attained that knowledge, and that knowledge is common. It is not that one rishi is saying something, that the description and the words might be slightly different, but overall that knowledge is common and or same. That is why we have the Vedanta Sutras also for this, where they iron out the differences in experiences. Someone is saying that the Srishti Krama or the order of creation. So someone there is mentioning four elements. Someone is mentioning five elements. So because someone is not giving one description, that does not mean that knowledge is wrong. Some places that description of four elements itself is sufficient, right? But in other places say five are needed. So in this way the Shabda Pramanam has a lot of knowledge that is based on verification from many independent rishis, and that knowledge tallies exactly, and that is why it is accepted as our Shastra or as a Veda. And once all of you attain that capability, you can verify yourself also, that knowledge will come to you. So that knowledge is something that we can all reach. But till we reach, how, what is the way of trusting? We have the common method, what we call shruti, yukti, anubhuti. So shruti is something that the shastra or the Vedas are saying. Yukti is the system of logic, the one that we are talking about right now, right? It is a system of logic or yukti. We use a logical proposition by which we can examine that knowledge, and we can understand the verity or truthfulness of that knowledge. Why it is true, ये सच क्यों है, ये हम समझ पाते हैं. We can understand why that knowledge is correct. So that knowledge, once we have understood and we have completed, then verified, then it becomes what we call anubhuti. It becomes our own experience, right? It can become our experience through meditation also, but we can through some other form also, we can see that some knowledge, if it is given, then that knowledge can give us certain knowledge about something. Like we can say, uh, uh, Shastra says that if you do good actions, you will attain heaven, right? So what is the yukti for that? That any cause will have an effect. Any effect cannot be there without a cause, right? So if you are doing any karma or any action, we will have to have a effect for that. So we will have to, for every karma there will be a karma phalam. So that is the yukti for that, right? Now what is the anubhuti? We do not need to directly go to heaven for that. We don't have to die to experience that, right? So some people say, if you want to experience heaven, you will have to go, you have to die and go there. Yeah, but right, but our shastras give a better way to do that without dying. So what, how do we do that? We understand logically first that there can be an experience, there can be a fruit of action. So because we are doing something good or something bad, we will have a fruit of action. But when we are here also, after doing any action, we have that feeling within our mind, the feeling of happiness or joy when you've done something good, or the feeling of guilt or unhappiness when we have done something wrong. That is a direct anubhuti, that is a direct experience. So these, in fact, swarga and narka are in our mind itself. It is our mind that is going to go into those realms and experience them, right? This body is not going to go there. But some shastras say that there we are given what we call a second body to experience those. So that different body is given there for us to experience, which is a very subtle body. So you can call it a subtle body, or you can say that indriya together into one unit, they move on to those higher planes. So in this way, all the knowledge that we are seeing, it is there, it is available for us through these pramanams, these four pramanams, and we can attain that knowledge and we can understand it, right? So I think we'll wind up for now for today. I'll just wait for a few questions if anyone has a few questions, because then the next one we'll go into in the next class. Uh, Upman and Shabda Pramanam, I think we'll go into the next class. I've just given you a basic outline of Upman and Shabda. We'll discuss those in more details. So, if does any one of you have any questions on Clubhouse? Also, you can ask. किसी को तो ला सकता है. Okay, Yashoda, you want to ask anything? George, anything from today's class? Any doubts? Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, okay. Still, if anything you remember later on, you can message me. So, I think on Clubhouse also we are not getting any questions right now.
There's one person who's raised the hand, but वो
Okay,
ऊपर there's some glitch. वो ऊपर नहीं आ पा रहे.
okay. Okay, then I think we'll wind up for today because not no more questions. I think time is up. We'll continue in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for coming. Take care, all of you, and
Recording stopped.
have a wonderful day, everyone. Wonderful week ahead, and we'll see you in the next class. Right? Bye, everyone. ये कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं क्या? Uh, you're trying to say something. I'm trying to send you an invite to speak, but maybe you're not getting it. Hmm? You can put your question. I think we'll close the class chat. Okay, then I think the questions are not being able to enter here. So we'll wind up this class for today. I'll just quit this one.